If you were to scroll back about 2 years ago for World of Tanks Blitz YouTube history, you would find the WZ-121 GFT quite relevant in your search terms for the best tier 8 in the game. But if you fast forward 2 years, this vehicle is almost not even talked about in vehicles like the Carnarvon Action 10, the Emil 1951, the Defender Mark 1, and the Progetto are way more popular than this as a tier 8 competitive vehicle. So what happened to the WZ-120? Is it still as strong as it used to be? Did it get nerfed, or what happened to the vehicle? Well, we're going to be breaking into all of that in today's video. Now, obviously, as we know, premium vehicles don't get nerfed or really change at all. So the WZ-120 itself has not changed apart from getting PBR files since it originally came into the game. It still has its great mobility going 50 kilometers per hour, a pretty solid gun, and fantastic armor on the front. So what really happened? Well, I would have to say the biggest killer of this tank was the heavy tank hit point buff. Almost all of the tier 8 heavy tanks before, I don't remember exactly what update it was, but we'll just say update 7. Well, in that update, basically the heavy tanks went from having about 1,500, 1,400 hit points to going upwards of 1,800, 1,900. I mean, you can look at any tier 8 heavy tank, let's say the Carnarvon Action 10, and this vehicle is now sitting at 1,855 hit points. The 112 Glacial, 1,908. I mean, that's a massive boost in hit points. The average tier 8 heavy tank went up about 400 to 500 hit points, which means a vehicle like the WZ-120, which was incredibly good at being very aggressive, now really didn't stand too well against heavy tanks, as they could take one more shell, and most of the time they would pen you back. The second killer is the increased amount of penetration. The WZ-120 has very good armor. I mean, if we take a look at it on Armor Inspector here, sure, the Emil 1 might make it look like butter, but that is not weak. That's about 210 millimeters thick. And that means if you're using the 6 degrees of gun depression it has, yeah, that is incredibly strong armor. Even premium shells are not going to cut through this tank. But the more and more tier 8s we've had added to the game have more and more penetration. I mean, a good example of this is, let's just go over to the European nation, and well, we've had the TVP VTU added, and the standard pen is 236, the premium is 299. I mean, that is a ridiculous amount of penetration. We go over to the Americas, and of course the Yo was another very recently added line, and the Yo has 236 on the standard and 278 on the premium. So more and more vehicles that are coming into the game have more and more penetration. And of course, that makes it much harder for a vehicle that is very good on armor to bounce more shells. Judging that this tank only has 1,100 hit points, not even able to chunk 3 average shells from, let's say, an IS-3, yeah, that is not all too amazing. So the armor is very troll in this tank. You can get a lot of bounces hauled down, but for the most part, it falls apart very, very quickly if you are in a stressful situation, and that's really the killers. I mean, the gun itself is fantastic. It has 2,705 DPM, 260 standard pen, 341 on the premium. I mean, those are tier 10 levels of penetration. Its damage per shot is 400, 500 on the HE, 6 degrees of gun depression is plenty to work with. It's got decent dispersion at 0.326, and the aiming time at 3.4 seconds is also completely workable. It has 50 kilometers per hour of top speed and 20 in reverse. 35 is its average speed, and an 18.8 on power to weight ratio. It's fast. Its traverse speed is 51.69 degrees a second. To put in contrast on how ridiculously fast that is, let's just get up your average tier 8 medium, or your T34-3, and this vehicle turns at 58 degrees a second. So it's turning just as fast as tier 8 mediums. So it still has everything going for it. It's just that the hit points and the armor are not nearly as capable as they used to be. And vehicles like the Progetto 46 that have their clips are still able to use their clips very, very well. And vehicles like the Action 10, which got their hit points buffed, are now able to use those extra hit points and completely bully tanks like this WZ-120. Now, don't get me wrong, this is still a fantastic tank. And I would still rate this as one of the best tier 8s in the game. I mean, it comes out cheap and cheaper every single time. And with the new introduction to PBR files on the tank, it looks incredibly sweet. It's super cool looking. I like to call it the cheese wedge. It's still an extremely capable tank. It's just not as capable as it used to be. But anybody that has this vehicle sitting in their garage collecting dust, well, this might be that little bit of motivation you've needed to bring it back out. Now, the big difference is, originally I would play this tank extremely aggressive, right up in the front line. But they've got tanks like the Lurva, they got the Tiger II, the VK-168, and all those vehicles pen me, and those are frontline heavies. So basically, if I go in the front line, I am going to be penned, because they have plenty of pen to most likely cut through me with premium. They're going to outtrade me, and yeah, that's really all there is to it. I mean, you just lose the trades. So we got the Panther 2 pushing up here. Maybe we can get a shot into that Panther, aiming and fire. There you go. Nice tap for 400 right into his engine. Now, one thing I did forget to mention about this tank that is actually very nice is the camouflage. It's really, really solid. I mean, you can get away with some really sneaky things with this tank's camo. Now, we have that Tiger 2 poking this side here, and there is that fantastic heat penetration. I mean, you can clearly see enough to butter through even that completely angled Tiger 2. The DPM's great, only an 8.9 second reload for 400 damage. I mean, that's also very, very solid. Somehow, my Progetto is managing to lose a fight, though, to a T-26E4. Not really what you want, as we all know. So I'm just kind of chilling here. I mean, there's not much I can really do. We got that AT off to the side, and we got the Tiger 2 in the front line. If that AT tries poking this, we're going to just say goodbye to 300 hit points, and we back up. I mean, that's the nice thing about this tank, is it's got that big alpha. Again, we just reload. I did get actually tapped by that AT, though. Let's aim in on his tank, and let's try and tap him. Oof! Yeah, did not pen, and as you can see, we've already lost like half of our hit points from that. I mean, that's a big chunk of hit points gone from that vehicle, and that's nothing to be shy of. I mean, that's a lot of hit points. So we're doing okay, though. I mean, we've done 1,500 damage so far. I do got to be a little bit worried about that AT, as, you know, it does butter through my armor. And that guy hit me quite hard. I mean, he took off more hit points than I managed to take off him. So that is one thing that I got to be very, very cautious about. But I'm not sure if that AT is going to, should I say, continue to try and work that hill, especially as he's lost quite a big chunk of health. Now, judging that the enemy's lost a lot of health on that side and our team's losing the other position, I'm pushing my tank up here. I'm going to see if I can get some big ol' shots in, maybe get some shells into the AT or the Tiger. So yeah, I'm going to push up here. Let's see if we can get a finishing shell into the AT. There you go. Nice shot, finishing him off. Then we got vehicles like the Tiger 2 over here, which obviously, again, I'm going to try and push on and see if I can get a very nice shot into. So let's aim in on this Tiger. Aiming, and yeet. There you go. Nice tap for 388, if I do say so. My teammate finished him off. And I do need to be worried about this ISU, obviously. I mean, it's an ISU. It's got enough alpha to basically finish my game off. But that ISU just missed his shot, and with that, we're going to get one tap into his vehicle, finishing him off in the process. So this game, we've been able to use that ridiculously stupid traverse speed. I mean, you can see how quick that traverse speed is. We've been doing good there. That guy's mad because apparently I took his kill, even though, you know, I don't even know why he's mad. It's not like he's trying to do the TP event or anything. Either way, I'm going to try and push my tank off to the side of this VK. Maybe we can get a nice shell in. There we go. Nice side of the VK, and boom! There you go. 460 hit points taken off of him, and now we're going to try and use that gun depression, and perfect. We did manage to get a bounce ourselves. So there's 2 shots into that VK-168, and with that, we're at 3,170 damage so far. I mean, you can clearly see where that mobility is just insane. The alpha is really nice, and the DPM's great, but that's a good example there of one shot from that tank literally took off a third of my hit points, even more than that. I mean, we only took, what, 3 shells that game, and 2 of them were only 225 alpha each. So the tank itself did fantastic. I'm not going to knock the vehicle. Did incredibly good damage. And this is a very good example to show that, sure, while the tank might not be as relevant as it used to be, it still is a fantastic vehicle. I would, as I said before, rate this as one of the top tier 8s in the game. It's just not the best tier 8 anymore. I would definitely put the Chimera above this tank. Now, the enemy team has a lot of mobile vehicles. I got the Progetto 46, T-49 Hornet, and the M4190. And I gotta be a little worried about that. I mean, we got a lot of mobile tanks on our team, but they also have a lot of heavies, so I gotta really make the decision, do I want to push heavy right or medium? And judging that this tank has the mobility of a medium, and we have a 252, I'm hoping that our heavies can hold, and I can push medium route and help out the mediums win. This tank basically has the hull of a Type 59, which is great. I mean, that's why it's so fast. That's why it's got that really low slung profile with an incredibly troll upper plate, is because of that armor and because of the mobility. So it might not go 56, but it still goes quick. 50 is plenty for a tank destroyer, especially with that, again, traverse speed that it does carry. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drive my way on over here. Maybe we can get some shots into the Progetto if that guy decides to back up. Oh, come on. Just turn your vehicle, and there you go. Nice shot into the Progetto. That guy, I don't think he enjoyed that all too much. I mean, that T-49, it's a threat, but not really a big threat. I mean, the 49, I'm not super worried about what he's going to do to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive my tank over here. Let's see if we can get a miss on the 49. One of the things that you will find is not amazing on this tank is the on-movement dispersion. Quite poor, if I do say so myself. So that is one downside of this vehicle. Now we do have an IS-6 over here, which I do got to be a little worried about there. And we got another IS-6 off to this side. So a little bit of a worry there. Let's aim it on that Progetto. Perfect shot going into his vehicle. I'm just going to angle this tank to the side. But, man, my Pantera was not the best of players, if I'm going to be honest. That guy took 4 hit points off me, and now he's dead. I don't know why he thought that was a smart idea. Honestly, I have no clue what was the idea behind that, but it definitely did not work. We have that T-28 Defender all the way off to the back, who I would like to get a nice shell into. I mean, we can aim in, we can aim, and I don't know if he's going to poke it. Come on, you know you want to, and ooh, he wanted to poke it, but it doesn't look like he's going to. And the enemy team, they have a lot of tanks there. I mean, a lot of tanks. I don't really want to play with all those vehicles, so what I'm going to do is we just watched that IS-6 fire, so I'm just going to load a heat shell in. Boom! There you go. Nice tap for 331. I put on my adrenaline here. Maybe we can get another nice tap into one of these vehicles here, so let's see if we can just do that. But, I mean, that's, again, perfect example. Lower plate, very easy to pen. And, I mean, that was almost half of our health gone. So, yeah, the hit points on this tank really don't last, and they're not going to last at all if you're not able to put them in a scenario that will do very well for the tank. Now, I am aiming in on that T-28, and unfortunately, that just completely missed by like a quarter mile, which sucks. But we're going to aim in again. 3, 2, 1, come on. No, you butts. Why'd you have to back up? That sucks. Well, this team is really just falling apart, and that's obviously nothing to blame for the tank. It's just the team's falling apart. So, not good stuff there, right? So, we're going to see if we can get a shell into that T-49. There you go. Nice shot. I'm going to angle the tank off to the side, and he just went straight through my vehicle, which is obviously not good. So, we're going to aim in on this 49 again, and boom, nice HE, 558 hit points there. Let's back up from the IS-6. I mean, we're not doing bad. We're definitely getting out a pretty decent chunk of damage here. We know that the Progetto is a very big threat. And that T-28 Defender's off to the side. So I've got to be careful about that. Oh, the Progetto is actually dead. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to squeeze my way around this. And yes, that's what I'm talking about. But no, T-28 Defender got me. I mean, I expected this to be a loss. Our team was... Wait, why is this guy over here? Why didn't these guys go... Whatever. Either way, we did good. We did 2,400 damage. But you definitely saw where the presence of this vehicle is not as strong in a game where you need those hit points. I mean... I literally got hit by that IS-6 once, and that was, what, 699 health left? I mean, that is really, really bad. And that's the biggest issue with the tank. I wanted to show actually a good game. This is perfect, because it shows a fantastic game in the vehicle. And then it shows a game where if your heavies are doing stuff like this, it's going to fall apart. I don't think the tank's bad, as I said. It can be very, very capable. But the vehicle itself struggles in stressful situations, where before, when it first came out, since heavy tanks had less hit points, you could easily bully tanks like the IS-6. I would have easily pushed it heavy side and just smoked them. But because I don't have the hit points to do that anymore, it just doesn't feel as capable anymore. Let me know what you guys think about the WZ-120. I still think it's a fantastic tank. I mean, we did 2,400 damage this battle, which is probably the most our team got, and it's probably even more than most of the enemy team got. But it doesn't negate the fact that the tank still struggles. Let me know what you guys thought about today's video. If you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. Man, this T-34. Ugh, why, Rodolfo, why do you got to do this to me? But either way, this guy is clearly not going to survive this battle. I just want to see the post-game results to see how he did in contrast to our team, as I normally like to see how the tank performed compared to how bad the team performed. But yeah, we did 24 on the dot, and yeah, the next highest was a camping T-34. So, obviously, I didn't expect... Yeah, that's not great. Yeah, so, sometimes your teams suck. And that's just where this tank doesn't do great. If I was in an Action 10, honestly, I probably could have held off the heavies with a little bit of support of, you know, maybe the 252 or the IS-3, which did 0 damage, so maybe not. Oof, man, yeah. I'm just going to be honest, that team kind of sucked, but showcased the tank's disadvantages. Hopefully, you enjoyed today's video. As I said before, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.